And we're live. Hello, hello. How's everyone?
Hey, good.
Wonderful.
Hey,
Good
glad
morning.
to be here as always.
Yes, yes, yes. All right, wait. Okay, so I think I'm hearing everybody. Let's just do a quick mic check.
Good
Mike,
morning.
1 2 1
Yes.
2.
Good
Okay, cool.
morning.
Cool, cool, cool. So look, welcome. Welcome to everybody who is tuning in with us live. If y'all catching this live, be grateful and be thankful because it will be coming down and we'll put it out again within a few weeks. So again, join us in the chat. Let us know where you're joining us from. Let us know that you're here with us. Ask us questions. We'll be, pulling some of those questions and comments up. But today we're just really wanting to lean into an amazing conversation with some amazing women that we're bringing to you guys today. So to get it started, go ahead and introduce yourselves, and we can start with Dr. Zenobia first, and then go to Ms. Karan.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Again, Tamisha and Christy, thank you for this opportunity. Karan, it's nice to meet you as well.
Same
My
here.
name is my name is Dr. Zenobia Bass. I am a psychologist training in Christian counseling. And also, I do individual counseling, group counseling. And my motto is self care. So I love this topic. So my motto is self-care is the key to a purposeful, joyful, and peaceful life. So I look forward to sharing all the knowledge I have gained over the years, both professional experience and more importantly, personal experience.
You
So
said
thank
that
you.
that last word that you said though, peaceful. When you said that, I was like, you know what? Peace, be still. Like just peace. So yes, that is definitely key. Thank you so much.
So my name is Karan Fairweather. I'm a women's empowerment coach. I thank you first, Tamisha and Christy, for inviting me here. I was so thrilled when I received the invite. I'm like, yes, I get to speak with these powerful women, and then also got an opportunity to meet Dr. Bass, and I'm so excited to be here today. What I do basically is provide women through my public speaking and through my product line, the Affirmation Whisperer, ways to be able to center themselves. I provide blueprints to them on how to recover from traumas, and not so much from the medical aspect because I'm not a doctor, but we know that along with us getting the medical treatment, whether it be therapy or any other form of medical treatment, then there's that internal work that must be done, right? Where we need to go ahead and put our plan together. First, though, it starts with our thoughts. We got to get our thoughts together, get our thoughts lined up with what it is we desire,
Yes.
regardless of your faith, understanding that there is a higher power. For me, it is God, right? And understanding that He has already put in us everything that we need to do, everything that the desire that exists in us is. Sometimes coming into the alignment of what that is and being able to gain that clarity is where the challenge is. Now, I offer women a blueprint on how to do that. Through my product line, Affirmation Whisperer, I have the candles, I have the children's affirmation book, and I have a newly about to be released 90-day transformational journey that help women with that very thing to help them get their mind right so they can go about creating the life that they desire. And I'm so excited to be a part of this conversation today.
Well, that was a lot and a great information. But you know what it made me think of as we're talking about this is the month of love in February, and at least as when I think about the tradition of Valentine's Day, it goes into relationships, and sometimes people feel like they shouldn't be celebrating because they're not in a relationship with anybody. But what you said made me think about the role of mindfulness when it comes to mental health practices or your own self-care routine.
Mhm.
Now, I feel like I have a grasp on what mindfulness is as the 41-year-old I am today. But if somebody had said the word mindfulness to me in my 20s or my 30s, I've been like, what does that mean? So just as far as you guys are concerned, when you hear mindfulness being part of your self-care routine, how would you break that down for the person who needs to go to Google right now to find out what mindfulness is?
Well, for me, mindfulness starts with understanding who you are. Because without you knowing who you are, the core of you, the quintessential essence of you, if you don't know what that is, how are you going to know really how to serve yourself? How are you going to know what really brings you joy? I was just questioning myself about that the other day. I've been to last quarter 23 Q4 was quite tumultuous for me. I had a lot of things going on, and I'm at a place now where I need to reconnect with what brings me joy, because I haven't been experiencing a lot of true joy, not fun. Yes, I have fun, but that joy, right, that comes from within. Reconnecting with that. But because I know who I am, I know what makes me up, I know me. I'm able to connect with what brings me joy. Travel brings me joy. I absolutely enjoy traveling.
Me too.
Yeah, it could be a little tiresome, but going to new places, doing new things, that brings me joy. So when it comes down to mindfulness, knowing who you are, what makes you up, what is it that really ignites your fire? Not what gives you a little endorphin boost, but what really lights your fire? What makes you sad? What gives you that introspect? So it starts for me with mindfulness is about knowing who you are and what are those factors that bring you to that center ground. So I'll start with that.
Yeah.
So I work with, and I'm gonna come to you with this one, Dr. Bass. I work with in my business lots of women who come to me not knowing who they are, and just making that statement of know who you are. They're like, where do I start with that? Right. So one of the things that I do with the Tuesday Tea and reading books is offering quizzes. Like that's where I started. Is taking different quizzes of, you know, what kind of person are you in this situation, as in work, as in life, with family and things like that. But I'm sure you have people who have come to you for counseling who haven't known like who they are, which is their difficulty. So where would you say, Dr. Bass, is some pointers when somebody comes to you and is like, you're like self-care and you got to know who you are first. And you can tell they don't come straight out and say, I don't know who I am, but you can tell they don't know who they are. How do you help them with that?
Well, a couple of things, and you're exactly right. When individuals come to me, life has been tumultuous, pretty much to what Karan said. So when I think of mindfulness, I think of this. I don't start with, and I teach not starting with who you are and trying to find yourself. I start with quietness. I actually share with individuals, mindfulness is avoiding the multiple distractions.
Yes.
So when you talk about mindfulness, it's being mindful of exactly what is on your mind at the time.
Yes.
And because we are so busy multitasking, we don't have a central thought of what's on our mind. So our mind is like a storm. It's like just brewing with all these different thoughts. And one thing that I share with people, that is what is unconscious right now. Unconscious in our minds right now is COVID, schools closing, schools going back, war, presidency, grief, right? Do I go to work? Do I stop work? Am I going to work remote? Am I going to have to go back into the office? My daughter needs to get the track meeting. I need to prepare for a Zoom call. Just stop the busyness and just be calm for a minute.
I feel seen.
Yeah. But it's everyday life. You know, I work for a job. Now I have to rush home. I have to prepare dinner for the family. And sometimes what I share with women is think about, as you delegate at work, delegate within your family. If you have a husband that gets home before you, you may consider asking him, can you take the food out the freezer? You know, things that the family as a whole, because what has happened with women particularly is that we have been trained and have trained others that we would take care of it all.
Right.
Unfortunately,
I'm so guilty of that.
Unfortunately, the backlash of that is we have high blood pressure, we have anxiety, we have depression. We believe that we have to function in this busy world at 100% every day, and we do not. And so when I think about mindfulness, I think about just taking time, turn the TV off, turn the cell phone off, dim the lights if you can. If you see in the back corner, that lamp is a dimmer. It's so at times I just dim the lights, right? And that's my opportunity to say, let's bring it down. And before even doing that, just breathe. You are sometimes we're just on automatic. We don't even know we're breathing. It's just automatic. So when I think of mindfulness, I share with women and men too, but particularly for women, because they number one, for the most part, caregivers. I say to them, when's the last time you just took a breath? Just sit in a chair and just say, let's try it. Just sit in a chair right now and just take a deep breath. Just breathe in. Hold it. And then just blow it out.
Look, y'all see I'm up here breathing with her, y'all.
Right? Right.
I felt that. I felt that.
Yeah.
Just doing that at that moment really just lighten things up. Because even in this moment, as the person who is part of the host, I'm thinking about listening to what you're saying. How could I follow with that? And that breath right then just really just let some things go for me.
And so that's where I start with mindfulness. Just where are you? No judgment. Just where are you right now?
Right.
And also I like meditation videos. 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, whatever you can work into your schedule. You don't have to wake up in the morning hitting the floor running. How about you wake up, step in another room, right? Depending on if you live by yourself with other people where it's completely quiet, and just meditate for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Until you can build up to 7 and 10.
I like the 5 minute part because I've started meditating as well. And I've read the book Atomic Habits, which has helped me attaching anything I want to do new to something that I'm already doing. So I've woken up early. I've set my alarm to wake up earlier. And in our minds, we feel like I don't have time for meditation because we're thinking 30 minutes. We're thinking an hour. And what I found is something simple. I just went on YouTube. And I've also realized which meditation I don't like because there's some voices I'm like, I can't do her. It's messing with my ability to even meditate because I'm thinking about this, the sound, her voice doesn't work for me. But I had to learn that. And I've realized that a 5 minute meditation does so much for me.
It does. It does.
And and now I know that when I get because it's not something I do all the time. But when I get into a moment where I feel like this is too much, and it's just life, it's just regular things, I tell myself, go do the meditation at 5 o'clock in the morning. And it really sets my day. Like I'm telling you from experience, if you're sitting there listening to that and you're like, I ain't got time for this meditation stuff, from a person who 5 years ago would have been like, I ain't got time for this meditation stuff. That 5 minute meditation has made a difference in my, not an everyday thing. It's not an everyday thing, but when I need it, when I feel like, oh, this is becoming too much. And I'm hard on myself because I feel like this shouldn't be coming too much because I'm Christy. Like I shouldn't have these, doing too much moments or this is too much moments. That 5 minute meditation on a quick YouTube video does a lot for me.
Hey, Christy, if I can add to that, she's absolutely right. Dr. Zenobia is absolutely right. And it doesn't have to be your first thing in the morning. You literally can meditate anytime. When you're in a moment of stress, your body is like in a fight or flight state, taking, even if it's just 30 seconds, a minute and a half, to just steady yourself, to just sit still. I oftentimes will just place my hand on my chest and just breathe in with my eyes closed, and deep breaths in and deep breaths out for just whatever that moment is for me that I need. Yes. That in itself is meditation. Oftentimes we think that it's a whole production for meditation, but it's literally just pausing what you're doing, closing your eyes. And if there's noise going around you and you can't really move, just go within, go inside and just quiet yourself. Get your heart rate to come down, because when we get worked up, that's the first thing that happens. Our heart rate and blood pressure spikes up. But when we take that moment to just breathe, and Dr. Zenobia was absolutely spot on. She said we breathe automatically, so we don't even think about it, right? But when you pause and acknowledge your breath and take that breath in fully by expanding the belly, not in the chest, by expanding the belly, really filling that belly with as much air. It's not really a belly, but you're making space for the lungs. But still, thinking that perspective of filling the belly for just that moment. If all you do is do it for one repetition, it does amazing, has great benefits of lowering your blood pressure, lowering your heart rate, and giving you just that pause for whatever's going on. So meditation really doesn't have to be, it can be anytime. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at lunchtime, whenever you need to meditate. And meditate is just simply pausing everything
Yeah,
That's
what
what meditation is for me.
and Chris.
Take a pause. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. Ken and Chris I just want to acknowledge a comment because Ken and Chris Mitchell was adding that she does it Monday through Friday, but sometimes while she's sleeping and she's having a hard time getting a rest, she'll do it. She'll do the meditation practices as well. And so I've heard, I really like this and then the comments and the points you guys have made, because in an era where self-care, I didn't grow up hearing about self-care, but it's definitely in the social media area, something that everybody talks about now, living a soft girl life or soft woman life and self-care. And people will say like going to get their nails done and going to get taking the time to do their hair done. And what I'm hearing from you guys is that if you like, this is what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing and picturing in my mind, like if you're going to get your nails done and this doesn't give you an opportunity to take a deep breath, then have you really
Right, you're just doing maintenance.
No,
I feel like
exactly.
it's maintenance.
Exactly.
Yes.
And what I want to kind of bring us back for a little bit, because as I'm going through, and we're all, thank God, we have made it to over our 40s, right? So we're over that.
You're in, baby.
Right, and I'm just thankful that I can say that we've made it. But have you always been like this? Because as I'm looking and I'm just taking it all in, I'm like. I wonder, have they actually always been like this, or like
No.
Nah. No. It's interesting that you say that, because so this is what I had practice in doing, like the Jane Fonda tapes, right? Doing the work.
Who is Jane Fonda? I heard of her, but
Jane Fonda. Jane Fonda is an actress, and she had these videotapes, these workout tapes with these steps, right? And so I was into doing that, and I'll share this little part. So I'm on a step, and my daughters are on telephone books beside me, right?
Are you shaking your head? You remember it, huh, Chris?
I do. That's how you don't know Jane Fonda, but baby, I know Jane Fonda with her little leotard on, and she had like a little belt thing around her waist, and a little tights on. I know Jane.
So I knew the importance of the physical aspect,
right?
I knew that, but I did not know the importance of the mental aspect,
exactly,
psychological aspect, the financial aspect, the professional aspect, and the social aspect. All of those areas define and help who we are.
That's right.
So when I think about self-care, I talk about self-care in 7 areas, not just. And you're absolutely right. It's not maintenance. It's not getting your hair done. It's not getting your nails done. It's not buying a new pair of shoes. It's not earrings. It's none of that. It's
those are like Band-Aids. Those are like Band-Aids.
Right. It's Band-Aids, because you can go to the nail tech, get your nails done. The nails weren't done right. Now you all up in arms because you spent money doing something externally. Externally that didn't do anything to help you internally.
Fill that cup up. Yeah,
absolutely. And we live in a world that the appearance, the appearance is what people see, but inside, how you feel your heart is what we need to work on.
Yes. Now you did say that you have 7, because I was trying to run through this. What could the 7 be?
What are they?
Absolutely. So it's spiritual, and within spiritual you can do meditation, but you can do meditation all day long, whatever fits your schedule. And I like what Karan said about making sure that we put everything in order and have a plan for people. So it's spiritual, right? It's physical. Number 2 is professional, psychological, financial, professional, and social.
Okay.
All right.
I need to be up here taking notes, y'all.
and there are different aspects. So when you think about emotional, right? We think about how we feel.
Emotional. Okay.
Oh, did I miss saying that? So emotional.
Yeah, because you did professional twice. So emotional must be the 7th one. Okay.
It is. Thank you. So emotional, how are you feeling? And think about this. When you go to the doctor's office, they show you the little different forms of faces and even the emojis. How are you feeling? Right? I'm feeling sad, I'm feeling happy, I'm grieving, I'm depressed. Those are all emotions.
Mhm.
When you think about psychological or mental, those can be interchangeable. Think about what you are allowing to enter into your psyche, into your head.
Yep.
You know,
Mhm.
Facebook, Instagram, news,
Absolutely.
disgruntled girlfriends, disgruntled husband, disgruntled teacher in your environment. What are you absorbing from other people, other situations that is now plaguing your thoughts or changing your thoughts? Yeah.
Can I say something real quick, because you just said something so powerful, and it goes back to what you both were saying earlier about you have to know yourself. And
That's
so
right.
when you are, a lot of us are empaths, and just a lot of just energy just that are out here. So I've learned that now that I know myself, I know energies and feelings and thoughts that are not mine, and I have to quickly give that back. Like real quick, because just think about it. If we're out going on through our day and somebody rubs us the wrong way, or they're projecting or throwing their energy onto us, and we bring that energy back into our house with our kids and our significant others, like how is that going to now they're rubbed the wrong way, now they're going to go out, so it just kind of continues going.
Mhm.
So but you won't know, and this is why I connected with both of y'all. What y'all said was, so you have to know yourself first to be able to know what's not yours.
Yes.
And then once you know what's not yours, you have to be aware of it enough to know, I got to give this, I have to release this, I have to give this back, because it's not mine. It's not my bag to carry. So
I'm always throwing in books. So the book that I'm currently reading is The Art of Thinking Clearly.
Yes.
And this book literally talks about, as Dr. Bass is mentioning, the psychology and what you're putting in what you're allowing in your head and in your thoughts. And we take on thoughts as our own, but they really aren't our own. We came to this because we're watching the news, or we came to this because our parents always said this, but this wasn't an original thought. We're just flying through what other people's thoughts are. And it really pointed out a lot of things. And I broke it up into 4 parts. So where I'm at is like the second part of the book. And that really points out a lot of us are carrying things and thoughts. And it's also my daughter, for example, the other day, she was in her room and she had just fallen asleep, but she had her Google Voice playing, or Google Home playing, and it was a Nicki Minaj song that was playing. And I said, don't sleep. That still is playing in your mind. Your mind is still working when you're sleeping.
That.
If that's playing while you're sleeping, you're absorbing that. So I said, if you're going to fall asleep to something, fall asleep to some mindfulness, song, some Mozart. Because we have a 3-year-old and we have one in her room, and that's what we have playing while she's sleeping. It's classical toddler music while sleeping. That's literally what I tell her. So play the classical toddler music while sleeping. And so she's listening to Mozart, and meanwhile in the other room we got one falling asleep on Nicki Minaj.
I love to chime in on that energy piece. When you were saying about the energy, knowing who you are, like that's where the conversation started, and knowing who you are. So knowing, and Christy tapped into something also about, we are repeating what we've observed, what we've heard, and what we've been told. Think about your childhood, of all those modalities that you learned or were taught growing up that you were doing still as an adult and don't know why. The story of the ham hock being cut off on the end. We don't know why. I don't know, grandma did it. I don't know, great grandma did it. So we're doing all these things that we were taught are shown. But when it comes down to energy, because we are energy, everything is energy. Everything is energy. So knowing yourself and knowing your own energy patterns, your own feeling, if you will, you know when something ain't right, because you walking around, hold on, something not right. Somebody not right, Zenobia?
Right.
Absolutely. You got to know, it's got to start with you. If you don't know yourself first, you're going to be carrying around all these energies, all these thoughts, all these practices that somebody else told you.
Yes.
Somebody said, well, this is the way to do it. Well, does that feel right for you? You know. Now, are you acknowledging it? No, because you don't know yourself.
Right.
So go ahead.
So much has been said. Okay, so so much wonderful, powerful stuff has been said. My goodness. So let me let me jump in here, right? One thing I like to share relatable movies to my clients. So I share with my clients the movie Runaway Bride with Julia Roberts. Why? Because the key takeaway that I found for my clients to share with people, that I share with clients and people, she kept running away. Let me go back. One of the questions Richard Gere asked her in the movie is, what type of eggs do you like? Right? She did not know what type of egg did she like, it boiled, scrambled, over easy, fried, whatever. But she could tell you the type of egg that her previous 3 or 4 fiancés liked.
That's
why. Okay, I'm gonna just pause for a moment. She didn't know what she liked, but she knew what each one of them liked. Why? Because she had not taken the time to get to know what she liked.
Exactly.
That was one thing. Getting to know yourself, Karan, goes all the way back, right? The other thing that I read part of this book is called The Genius in All of Us. The Genius in All of Us. One of the things that I highlighted in the book, it says, back to your point, Christy, about Mozart versus Nicki Minaj. Back to your point, everything shapes us. Everything shapes us, and everything can be shaped by us.
Yes.
Everything shapes us, and everything can be shaped by us. I believe it's called epigenetics. Epigenetics is where, if a pregnant mother, how she can pass things down to her children, almost to like stress level type stuff, can be passed down. So why is it important for us to know how to better take care of ourselves? Because we are being watched by our children and our loved ones, right? And it's never too late to do the right thing by yourself, because you would teach your families how to treat you. And the question was, have we always done this? Going back to your question, Tamisha.
Thank you.
No, I haven't always done this. I didn't know to do this personally until I was in the doctor's office when my dad died of a massive heart attack. And I had developed, it was called stress-induced stomach cramps. I didn't know until my mom passed away. And I had developed stress-induced anxiety, almost like an asthma. I was having a hard time breathing. So I'm saying that to say I didn't know until I kept running to the doctor and I started seeing, okay, stress is causing me to develop almost asthma. Stress is causing me to have stomach cramp. Stress is causing me to forget some things. Oh no, time out.
Yes.
Time out. It is now time for me to figure out what I can do to take care of me. Why? Because life is going to continue to happen.
Yes.
And life is happening. And if my mind, which leaves my body, is going to be stressing out and, bouncing all over the place every time something happens, I'm no good to me. And I will not be any good to anyone that loves me and that I love. So no, I didn't start this journey, Tamisha, until Christy was grown, because my focus was more outward. Then I realized my focus had to be inwards.
For me, no, I ain't always been this way either. And I can tell you, when you said about the stomach issues, Zenobia, I was thinking back when my former husband and I, we were separated for a while, and he came to visit the children. And my mom, after he left, my mom said to me, she said, "Do you notice every time he comes around, you get a stomach ache?" And I had not noticed that.
Thank God for mom.
Right? Thank God for mom. My stomach would be in so much turmoil. Internally, I was in so much turmoil, and it was manifesting through pains in my stomach.
Yes.
I literally could not eat the entire time. shortly before I knew he was going to arrive,
Mhm.
until he left. The moment he left, guess what I did not have anymore? A stomach ache.
Yeah.
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah.
That
Well,
was
that's it
in
now.
my 40s, I want to say. And that's when my journey began, because we not long after divorced, that I started to realize, now, wait a minute, if this mere person,
Mhm.
the energy of this person causes me a stomach ache, exactly like I'm just saying,
Yes,
anxiety in the gut, exactly, causes me a stomach ache. I need to do some stuff. I need to rid first this person from my life. But just because you are no longer around that person does not mean the effects of that person leaves with them.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
So that
Absolutely.
I'm glad you said that, because how do you establish and maintain boundaries in that? Because it comes to boundaries, because you realize, okay, this is related to a person, but then this is also y'all share kids.
Yeah, he ain't
Well, let
going
me
nowhere.
tell you, and the thing is, I had to do exactly what you just mentioned, Christy. I had to establish a boundary, but you know what? How I couldn't even establish a boundary because I didn't know me.
Mhm.
Right.
I didn't know me. I was so lost, like Julia Roberts in the movie. She knew somebody else's liking for their eggs, but she didn't know her own.
Mhm.
So how am I going to establish boundaries for
Mhm.
operating between me and him and these kids when I
Mhm.
don't even know who I am?
Yeah.
I was so busy trying to be a mom, a wife, and
Yes.
do it all and work. I
Yes.
knew nothing about me
Yes.
as an individual, as a woman, as my own person.
Mhm.
Forget about the children, forget about the husband, the job, the this, the that. What about me?
Yes.
What lights my fire?
Mhm.
What gives me joy? What keeps me happy? And I'm not talking external maintenance. We're not talking about that stuff.
Yes.
What can I do internally that
Yes.
will bring me to peace?
Yes. And
Because
I
had I had that already established within me, when he came around, it would have been as if he wasn't even there. Because
absolutely.
I already know what keeps me centered.
Yes.
But I had no clue.
Yes.
So that pain in my stomach got me on the journey of learning who I am,
Mhm.
learning how to center myself. So most of you know that affirmations are huge for me.
Mhm.
Speaking well about myself.
Yes.
So as a women's empowerment speaker, that's one of the first things that I talk about. Do you know who you are?
Mhm.
Do you know who you are? Do you know what makes you tick?
Mhm.
And if not, let's start talking about this thing.
Mhm.
How are you going to go inwardly? Because like you said, you asked us, have we always been this way? No, ma'am. And sometimes I feel like I'm starting all over because something pops up from the past that I thought I had resolved. So here I gotta go, oh Lord, here to work, gotta go.
Yes.
But you know what? I'm thankful for it.
Yes.
Because in the unfolding of me, I become me.
Yes.
I like that point though, that because it's like the stages of grief, right? Where we feel
Mhm.
like and that happens because when I got divorced, I was like, okay, let me go to counseling and realize that even though it was a good thing for me, I was still going to go through those stages of grief.
Mhm.
And you feel like, oh yes, I've made it to the next stage. And like you said, something comes along, you're like, back to one, we go. I think that's important to point out, that it's a continuous process, and
Yes.
that as you learn yourself, it going through the process becomes easier. So as before, it may have taken you like a couple of years maybe to even get to the next step. But as you learn yourself and learn what you need to help yourself through that process, that what once may have taken you a long time, you can go through that stage much quicker because you know who you are. Now, when it comes time, because I'll just speak from personal experience, when you learn yourself, you know, because now you come across people as you acting brand new, you
Right.
think you too good, you
Yeah.
know, oh, she used to be able to go in these rooms before, now she can't go in these rooms.
Mhm.
How do, or what would you advise someone to do, practices or, you know, anything that you would say, either you've learned personally, you've learned professionally, that helps someone when now you set these boundaries and you're maybe feeling guilty about it. You know, it's best for you, but you're taking on the guilt that, you know, people are putting on you. Like, what's just all that I've said, give it to us. What you got?
You know they got it.
So let me say a couple of things. One, when someone says you've changed, you're tripping, you know, what's up with you? You acting funky. What that means, how I interpret that, right? I interpret that is that now they're looking at themselves saying, okay, is
A
there
reflection.
something? is there something
Yes.
wrong with me
Mhm.
because this person has now made a change. So what does that say about me if I have not made that change? That's one. The other thing is you absolutely are only responsible for you.
That's okay. Okay, let's pause right there because it is so, I'm not gonna say hard, but it is definitely challenging because I think that society we're in a society and we've been raised, especially as women, to think that we are responsible for all the different things.
Yeah.
So when I hear that, I'm literally just responsible for me.
Mhm.
How do you not feel not guilt? I guess how do you not feel guilty about that?
Okay, so let me answer that this way, right? And because my faith is in God, and I believe people have their own journey to God, right? But because my faith is God, let me give you this, and I want to read it exactly how it's read and was written. Love the Lord your God with all your heart, your soul, and mind, right? That's external, that's the higher power. Directly after that, it says, love your neighbor as yourself.
Mm-hmm.
As who?
Yourself.
As yourself. Sometimes we are busy loving everyone else. Neighbor, I'm going to use real broad, not neighbor across the street. Broad, neighbor, your family, your friends, the job. You are only responsible for yourself because you cannot give from an empty vessel or empty cup. So the more you keep trying to meet the needs of people over the age of 18 or 21 who should be meeting their own needs, the more you're going to feel drained. And so setting boundaries, it doesn't mean you don't love the person. Yes, continue to love on your family, but love them with boundaries that are healthy for you.
Absolutely.
So when it's time to interact with that person, because you all have a mutual interest, think about what is the best way for you, not them, and not for the person you all have the mutual interest. It's not about anyone else at that time but you. So what do I need to do? Is it easier or more comfortable for you to take a phone call versus meeting in person? Are you your best person in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening? Set the setting up that works for you. Now, if their feelings are hurt, and individuals' feelings will be hurt initially because they have been accustomed to getting something from you that you are no longer willing to give them because it's taking something away from you.
Yeah.
So I don't tell anyone what the boundaries are. Right. I say, when someone has crossed your boundaries.
Right. You do know.
You do know.
You know.
So the question is, if someone asks you, someone calls and say, hey, Tamisha, now let me paint your setting. You're at home, you have a cold, you're running a fever, you don't feel like getting out of bed. Okay. Someone knows you're at home with a cold, and they call and they say, Tamisha, can you run me to the store? They don't start the conversation by saying, Tamisha, how you feeling? What can I get for you? Something I can do for you? They start the conversation about what you can do for them in your current situation.
You be in my house, Miss? Are you in my house?
Right. And what we have trained people to do is overlook our needs and go directly to their needs. And so what we do, oh man, I don't feel like it. But what do? We say yes. And now we're feeling guilty to ourselves because we didn't want to do it. We didn't feel like doing it, nor should we have done it, but we did. So the question you have to ask yourself, all of us on a continuous basis, when I say yes, why am I saying yes? Is it because I don't want to be left out? Is it because I don't want to be talked about at the next family gathering? Is it because, if I say no to this, then if I truly need them to pick up the child or go to the grocery store or do what they are responsible for doing,
Right.
are they not going to do it now? Yeah, they probably won't. But that's not your problem. Your responsibility is to you.
I think one thing we have to remember, Tanisha, is what we forget very often because we get so bogged down in life and all the doings. You have the right to choose.
Yes.
You have the right to choose. And that's one of my affirmations that I say frequently. I have the God-given right to choose. Then I ask myself, am I exercising it? Because just like the demonstration she just gave about someone calling you, you are sick, you're in bed, they don't even ask you. They say, can you take me to the store? They don't ask you how you're feeling. They're not concerned about you because their focus is them. Mm-hmm. So now we have an opportunity that when these requests are placed upon us to choose, and we don't exercise our right to choose.
Yep. Yeah.
We feel like we're obligated to get up out of my bed. I got 102 fever, but because this person, now, mind you, no one does anything they're not getting something from.
Absolutely.
Period.
So if you're getting out of your bed, you're choosing to get out of your bed with 102 fever choice to go take this person to the grocery store for whatever choice. What are you getting from that? Mm-hmm. You see what I'm saying? So first, are we forgetting our power to choose? We have a right to say yes. Sometimes we do it too much. And we have a right to say no. And guess what? We don't have to say why.
Right. No dissertation. I don't have to explain. No, baby.
I can do that. You don't have to. No. But then, as I just said a moment ago, nobody does anything. And when I say anything, I mean in its totality. You don't do anything you're not getting something from.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So are you feeding into your need to please by getting out of your bed to go do something for that person? Mm-hmm. You may be whining now. They know I just told them I was sick. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you did tell them. But who's choosing to get out of their bed to go do? Mm-hmm. Who's coming into work when they know they got a stomach ache 24 hours, but they're still choosing to go into work.
Yeah. So that reminds me of someone was commenting about being a micromanager. And so I pointed that when it comes to leadership, people who feel the need to micromanage as leaders are doing so, from my experience and reading, for two reasons. One, they're not good at communicating. And so because they haven't communicated what needs to be communicated to who they're managing, now they feel like they have to micromanage because they didn't communicate what needed to be done effectively. And then the other one is a lack of confidence. So you're not confident in your ability to lead. So now you feel like if I've communicated the directions, I'm not confident my directions are good enough. And so now I feel like I need to micromanage the person, the process, whatever the case is. And so that made me think of what you were saying about, even in the workplace, that sometimes people will micromanage because they need when the final project is done, they need to be given credit for that. Mm-hmm. And so the only way they can be given credit for it is if they can point out, well, they wouldn't have done it if I hadn't micromanaged or told them step by step. Yeah. And so it's the reason behind the reason you feel like you have to do this, right? So like if somebody asks you, and this is going back, I feel, to knowing yourself, if somebody asks you to do something and you have 102 degree temperature and you're sick, and then you still feel like you got to do it, is it a personal need that you need to feel needed?
Yes.
You're scared that if you tell them no, they might ask somebody else, and you don't want them to ask somebody else because you want them to need you
or be upset with you because
be upset with you. Yes.
Right. Yeah. So looking at the reason why you feel, because sometimes we'll blame on other people, well, they keep asking. I don't know why they keep asking me, but they keep asking because they know you're going to say yes, because in the inside you need them to need you.
It was the whole people pleasing aspect that you just brought. Like, I didn't even realize that was a thing. And that's why these conversations are so important. And every young person out there has to, hopefully they're in, homes and being fed and fed this information at an earlier age. Because if it wasn't until I got into be in my 30s that I understood that people pleasing is an actual condition. It's a thing,
Yeah.
You said it right. It's a condition. You're
Okay.
right.
And you gotta and so knowing that though, you have to go back and try to heal that inner child, that inner girl that was in me. That it was a reason why I feel, because I can definitely admit that I had this thing where I was a people pleaser. I mean, I would say yes to yes, and then everybody would have to start relying on me, or everybody did start relying on me. And then when the pressure became too much for my shoulders, and I let it all fall, then I'm looked at as this like what happened? You were the one that I can always call and all of this stuff. And it wasn't until I ran into the condition, or the name of it, people pleasing, and looked into it, and then just started looking back into how did this even happen in the first place? Because I know you're just not born.
You watch somebody. You probably watch somebody.
Yeah.
Growing up, you saw somebody else who would always get up. Get up in the middle of the night, in the middle of the morning. They was going to do something for somebody else.
Yep.
So you mimic what you saw.
Well,
because I know I did.
Yeah, it's a learned behavior. It's a learned behavior.
It's a blessing, but I know it's also a curse to have a strong Black woman in your life. Because when you see somebody that have had to be strong all of their life, there's certain things that they're going to make sure that, they try to make sure that you don't either have to go through those things, or they're going to make sure that you're strong enough to be able to go through things that you can necessarily just say, you know what, no, I'm not going through that. I'm not even dealing with that. I'm not going to people please. You're not going to call me every time your bill needs to get paid. You're not going to do all this. You're not going to keep putting your life on me. I'm going to give it back to you because I don't have to be strong. I can, of course, be strong enough to live my best life, but I don't have to be strong enough to live everybody's life, so.
Well, and I think too, because everything that you all are saying is absolutely 100% on point. And because childhood conditions do not dissipate, they do not go away. They have to be worked out.
Yes.
They have to be worked out because what goes unresolved in childhood will rear its face in adulthood at 20,
absolutely,
at 30, at 40,
every
at
time,
60. It will. It doesn't matter. It was because it was never resolved. It was dormant, but not resolved. And so when it occurs, when it appears, that is the absolute perfect time to start dealing with it. Yes, because it means at that point, in my belief and what I've read and what I've studied and what I practice, you are now able, believe it or not, to deal with it.
Yeah, but and then think about this too. So I don't have any biological kids in my life yet, right? But what I am very intentional about is making sure that those young people that are in my life, some of these traumas and things can be avoided as much as I can. Like, I don't want to ever be the person that's adding to the trauma. And I feel like as women, especially when we become a whole more healed version of ourselves, it's our jobs to go back and make sure that anybody that we can reach out and touch are set up better than we were. And I every generation is going to try to set the next generation up better. And I just feel like, a lot of this information that we have, I hope everybody is running back to the young people that they have access to and making sure that they understand these things at such a young age. Because again, life on the other side of healing is so much better.
And Dr. Zenobia said that you have an opportunity to go back and address something. What came to mind for me is empowerment. So this comes up, right? You were about to go there, Kristen, right? When it comes up, that's your opportunity to address it and empower yourself to dig it out, see what it is, and then put it in its proper place. I don't believe that we ever just get rid of things in our life. I believe that we learn how to apply them properly in our lives or put them in a proper place until needing to be tapped into. I believe that people pleasing, that was me, completely a people pleaser. but understanding that my need to please was my lack of confidence.
Yes.
It was my lack of confidence. So now that I understand that, because I unearthed it, looked at it, well, why do I feel like I need to be here with this person, that person, this person? Because they then celebrate me. Oh, Karan, thank you so much. You did this and you did that. Oh, my confidence is through the roof.
Right.
But it wasn't self-stimulated. It was externally stimulated.
Mhm.
So therefore, I had to, okay, that person stopped needing me. Oh, man. Now I gotta find somebody else. Now I gotta find somebody else. I just keep finding people to do stuff for, so they can raise me up, so they can tell me how great I am.
Yes.
I didn't know how great I was for myself.
Right.
Mhm.
But unearthing that and looking at it and admitting, owning that my confidence wasn't where it needed to be.
Yeah.
Oh, y'all
I
touching
think
on
that's
some
I
stuff.
think the owning part is what's really important, in that we can't I don't believe in spending our whole life trying to improve all the weaknesses that we have. We're human and we're going to have weaknesses.
Mhm.
And I think it's important to know your strengths. So like when I hear Karan say that, like, I do like external praise. And I just use that to make me successful, right? So I go into a situation and find out what is considered success in this. Like if I get a new job, let's say I get a new job tomorrow, I want to know what does the work need to be at the top 20? Then I'm going to go get the top 20. Now there's multiple factors to being the top 20. I know comes praise, which I enjoy.
Yes.
I'm just clear. Like I'm clear about that is who I am, right? But I because I know that's who I am, I use it in a healthy way.
Yes,
So I'm not going to go try to get praise for doing the wrong things, but if I do the right thing, praise will come. But also doing the right things also touches lots of people's lives. So it's a win-win. I'm getting fed by also feeding people. So I think
you're not sacrificing yourself, Christy. You're not sacrificing yourself.
Exactly. Right. So I think it's important. I don't want people to feel, to walk away feeling like, oh, I got to change. It's just knowing who you are and using it so that it also benefits your self-care, but you're not harming yourself or others in the process. I also I heard Tamisha say, as a parent, I think it combines with what you were saying, Karan, is that we're human and we're not going to get everything perfect. What I set out to do as a mother, as a real life mother, like who birthed kid, but also a mother of people who I coach and inspire, is giving people resources to rely on, because life is going to happen. You're going to hit a place where you find a weakness you didn't know existed. You're going to hit a place that you may be super confident over in this area, but in this area, you're not. And so when you find yourself in a situation, what resource do you use? Like the example was with my daughter in setting boundaries. So I told her, she's a teenager, and I told her, I'm okay with you doing things, but we will no longer be doing things when you come to me the day before and say, there's this birthday party that I want to go to. That is the boundary, period. So then mommy won't be looked at as the horrible person ever who never lets me go nowhere. No, if you realize the track record is that you can go somewhere with advance notice. But if you send me something and tell me something at the last minute, I'm not changing my schedule around. And this could be because the perception would be like, you ain't doing nothing. That's my plan, to do nothing. So my plan on Saturday was to do nothing. And you come to me with a party on Friday, I can't take you to that party on Saturday because that is not now, if you had told me last week that a birthday party was coming up, because this child knew their birthday party was going to be on this day at this time a year ago, then I could have prepared to drop you off and then had my me time. But I'm not messing up this me time. So I say that to say that a lot of times we conform because we never created the boundary.
Absolutely.
You have to first create it, and all parties need to be aware of what this boundary looks like. And then it takes away the guilt from yourself. I know it takes away my guilt because I don't feel guilty that you're in your room mad because you didn't follow the boundary that has been set.
Absolutely.
And I wanted to add that was perfectly said, because you can't expect people to follow boundaries that you never set.
Exactly.
Nor can you expect people, now that you set boundaries, they just going to jump and fall in line. It doesn't work that way. When you set boundaries, you do have to explain and sit down and go through the process with people. Say, this has nothing to do with you. I'm not mad at you. I still love you the same yesterday as I do today. But these are my boundaries for me. If you want me to show up 100%, then I need to do these things. I need to set boundaries. Something Karan said I wanted to just add to. So We operate in a lack mindset.
Oh, let's talk about it.
Say it.
As a people, we operate in a lack mindset.
We
I
do.
lack money. I lack resources. I lack friends. I lack this. It comes from a lack of love for self.
Self. Exactly. Mhm.
When you lack the love for yourself, you lack confidence.
Mhm.
You lack the ability to say no without feeling guilty. You have to start with, what's today's title? Start loving yourself.
Start loving yourself. This is perfect.
Why is it important to start loving yourself? Because we are making decisions out of the lack of loving ourselves.
Mhm.
Well, we can just end right there.
Pass the plate. Pass the plate. Pass the plate.
Fill in the blank. That's what we do on Point Blank Period. We make the point. We expect for you to take those points and fill in wherever the blank you have in your life. And period. That's it. And I feel like that's the point right there, is that we have a lack mindset. And so if we lack love for ourselves, then we have a hard time putting in the boundaries. We have a hard time doing the work needed for our own self-love, self-compassion, self-reflection, support systems around us, because it takes a village. You know, you can't do it all by yourself, and knowing your own where you lack help. So that's it. That's the point, ladies. Everybody who's catching this, is the point is everybody is working in some kind of lack. And so if we fill that in with not having a lack mindset and not having a lack for love of ourselves, whatever that means for us, which goes to the point of knowing yourself,
knowing yourself.
Fill that in. Yep, fill that in.
If you don't know yourself, Kristen, then that's why I'm so glad you said that point about knowing yourself. Everything we've said has the foundation of know thyself.
Yep.
Because you don't know that you're a people pleaser, and it's because you have lack of confidence if you don't know yourself. You don't know what it takes to love you. You don't know what your love language, right? The book love, what is it? Five love languages. How do you know what they are for you if you don't know yourself? If you don't know quality time means something to you, how you go demand, or I shouldn't say demand, but set expectations, boundaries that address quality time. You have to know. Out of everything that we have available to us, all the tools, meditation, going to the spa, exercising, all those things that we have available to us, even with exercising, how you gonna know what exercise does something for you? Because some people can go to the gym all day long, it does absolutely nothing for them.
Right.
But if they go and sit down and do some stretching, and do some meditating and just breathing, that in itself lights them up, but they don't know because they don't know themselves. Self-aware. I heard this term, and it always resonates with me. Self-actualization.
Yes, that's my favorite. Yes.
Self-actualization. Actually understanding who I am. Actually, really, truly, not just using all these trendy words that we got going on right now, right? Self-care, self-maintenance is not self-care. It is not. It is not.
So we're going to put
realizing actually who I am. Go ahead, Christy. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, we're going to put everybody's how to reach out to everyone on here. I know we have both of you ladies' websites, so everybody can reach out to you. If you remove the self-love comment, Tamisha, they'll be able to just clear that there. Perfect. There it is.
Well, so I want to do this before because this is powerful. But even for my personal self, I definitely want to.
I'm rewatching this episode for sure.
But I want to know. So, like, Dr. Zenobia, could you walk us through your self-care tools that you have in place, and then the same thing for you, Karan? Because, like, I know we're about to free some people today. So
one thing I like is to make sure people have something handy and available that they can refer to every day. And so I created what I call my self-care calendars. And I don't know if you can see this one or not.
Yeah.
But it says on here.
Is that for today? Is that today?
No, this aligns with today. I had created this. I create calendars every year. Right. So this year is love self, be kind and compassionate to self. And each month has a self-care tool that you can use, like drink plenty of water, exercise, prepare your 2024 financial budget, right? These
right,
are
y'all.
these are things we're supposed to be doing for ourselves.
Right.
And one of the things I love, and I want us to all do this, just take just a second, hug yourselves. Just hug yourselves. Just hug yourselves. Why is that important? We need to stop looking for other people to do what we can do for ourselves.
Yes.
Right? Hug
Right,
yourself,
exactly.
right? And then quarterly, it's a review. You review your self-care practices to see where you are. You celebrate your wins, and then you also adjust for success, right?
Mhm.
And then at the end, we talk about, so July, reflect on what's going good. Sometimes we don't take the moment to reflect on what's going good. We're,
Right.
again, that lack mindset. I don't have. No, literally, ladies and those that are watching, you have every single thing that you need
Mhm.
right now, today. What is it? Point blank, period.
That's right.
You lack nothing. Or
Right.
a better way to say it, you don't lack anything. Either way, at the point, you have everything that you need. So that's one of my tools, and you can find it on my website. So I have the little desktop, so it sits right on your desk calendar, and then I also have the wall calendar that you can see behind me. That's February with the big old heart, and in that there's space for you to take notes.
Love it.
Just
Love it. Love it.
constant reminders right in front of you.
Yep. And again, we're going to drop the links in the show notes as well, so you'll all be able to quickly go and get yours. So that we're still in the first quarter of the year, so you still have time. Yes, still have time. All right, Ms. Karen.
So for me personally, frequently I will meditate. First thing I get up slowly. I make it a practice to get up slowly. That jumping out of bed as soon as the alarm goes off, no, I'll reach over, turn the alarm off, make sure I don't fall back asleep. I'll just lay there. I'll lay there and maybe wiggle my feet or just kind of roll my neck back and forth just to wake up my body. Personally, these are some things I do. And then I'll get up, and if, sometimes the mood, the choice to go and meditate doesn't come to me. So I may just get up and do some body waking up exercises I do for myself, whether it's some stretching, getting on the floor, stretching, doing some of the Asian movements that I know that help to wake up the bloodstreams and things like that. And then I'll either go outside for a walk or go do some exercises. But number one, I drink my water. I drink my water. That's the first thing that I consume when I get up. What I try to share with others, and I'll share this with you guys, this is hot off the presses. I have a Life Rediscovered 90-day women's transformational journey dropping on March 2nd. This book actually takes you through introspection. It takes you through how to go ahead and develop a self-care plan for you. That is what I have available to women. And some of the things that Dr. Zenobia mentioned about determining a practice for yourself that works for you, exercising, financial planning, things of that nature is all in this journal that's dropping on March 2nd. But presently, and I want to just digress a bit, you mentioned the children, Tamisha. I have a children's affirmation book for children. I firmly believe in all of us, no matter our age, firmly speaking well about ourselves.
Yes.
Speaking well about yourself, because while you are recovering, while you are healing, while you are unearthing those things about yourself and learning about yourself, you may uncover some things that you don't really like that much. Like, what? Is that truly me?
Yes.
Well, if it is, let's speak better about it. Let's speak better about ourselves. Life and death is in the power of the tongue. And it's not just speaking physically. It's not just speaking to our physical self, to our mental selves, our emotional selves. So I believe that, I don't know about you guys, but growing up, my mom was trying to make sure the food was on the table. Right. She had no thought of mind of trying to affirm me. She was trying to make sure the bills were paid. But when you know, you can't unknow. I now know how important it is to teach people how to speak well about themselves. So I do have a book for children because parents can do these activities in the book with the children to begin that affirming process, that affirming practice, that when I realize that I'm a people pleaser, that's not a bad thing. I just have to put it in proper perspective, right? I love loving on people is an affirmation that I have. I do, but I do it in a proper perspective to serve me well. So my personal practice, as you heard when I first started, is I have a myriad of practice that I choose from daily. It depends on the day, but I just make sure daily I am doing something for me first. I don't care how many times that phone rings. My children know they need to do in order to reach me. If it's an emergency, that phone does not get touched until I have taken care of me first, because that's me setting the boundaries for them, that I come first. Everybody else and everything else comes after that. And I believe if we all have that type of mindset and practice, we can have less stress in our lives. We'll have less stomach aches, right? Those stomach aches I was having, less all kinds of ailments, dis-ease. Dis-ease is caused by us having so much dis-ease in our mind and body. So that's what I wanted to share.
Powerful.
This was great. If you're not already following us, make sure you like, subscribe, and follow Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. Point Blank Period. This year is just getting started, and we will probably have these ladies back for another topic. We'll be talking about leadership, and this was perfect for the month of love. Taking some time and celebrating ourselves. And not operating in lack, but gratitude for what we do have, with the gifts that God has given us and the people we do have around us. So this was better than I could have even had thought it would turn out to be. I will definitely be rewatching it and taking notes for myself and for others that I help. And I'm thankful. I am in full gratefulness for this opportunity for you ladies and your time today.
Yes. Like I said, I share the same gratitude as well. My heart is overjoying. I'm getting ready to take off in a minute to go do to refill my cup at Jeju's as the 24-hour. I guess you can call it a spa. I think I call it more of, it's just a place that I can rejuvenate myself. So I'm going to do that now, but this has definitely set the tone for that. And again, we're going into the second full week of February, a month all about love. But before you worry about how somebody else liked their eggs, go ahead and figure out how you like yours first. Let me tell you something. If I ain't taking nothing else, period. And look, for the people who are just joining in and maybe didn't catch the context, go back to the beginning, because you gotta catch that.
Replay. Gotta catch that.
No, but thank you.
Thank you.
Again, we already have your information in here about where everybody can find you. So again, thank you again, and we look forward to the next one.
It was my pleasure, ladies. Thank you for the invite. I look forward to coming back.
Yes, as well.
Thank you, ladies. It has been a pleasure, and I pray that you both replenish yourselves for all that you have given out, because the more you give out, the more you need to take time for yourself. So continue the great work and just do what you do. You were created, ladies, to do this, point blank, period.
All right. Well, until the next time, we're going to sign off. Thank you, guys. Thank everybody for joining us.
Thank you. Bye-bye.